Board members, if we can get you to take your seat, and we're going to get started here pretty quick. I want to welcome everyone to our board meeting. We started earlier with an executive session. Now we're going to go into the opening business. Before we get into that, I think it's real important for everyone to know, especially our board members, that we are not streaming. We're having technical difficulties, and we do not have a call-in option for board members at this time. However, we are recording, so we're being legal here. We're working on the technical difficulties. So with that said, we'll get started. Again, welcome. First on our agenda is we have board member Gravitt, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we'll have Vice Chair Ellis who's going to give the board member welcome message.
Thank you. I hope everyone. Oh, I'm not on yet.
Now are you?
Yes, I am on now. Thank you. I hope everyone's having an enjoyable summer vacation and got to do something fun. Or take a little bit of a break, but I'd ask if you could please join me in a word of prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this opportunity that we have to gather as colleagues and friends to work together to help create an environment of learning and education for the children in the state of Utah. We ask Thee to please be with us today, that we will be able to work together to express our differences and opinions in a kind and gentle manner, and that we can have Thy Spirit to be with us today, and that we can do our best to work hard and to be able to do everything in our power to make betterments to education, and that we can think clearly about what is best for the children of this state. We ask Thee humbly in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next we'll have the introduction of our new employees. We don't have a podium here, but we are going to turn on board member Belknap is taking control of the mic there, and there you go. So we have this mic here that's working.
Good morning. I have a handful of new employees. I'll let each one introduce themselves, where they work, and where they came from.
I'm Jonathan Fry, career and technical education, coming from Utah Academy of Sciences.
I'm Brooke Baker, and I am the HR director replacing Dana Powers.
I'm Brett Campbell. I'm the State Charter School Board. I came from BYU.
Good morning. I'm Erica Thomas. I'm in the Teaching and Learning Department, and I most recently came from Provo School District.
Hello, I'm Jeff Van Holt, the new policy advisor, and coming from the Governor's Office of Economic Development.
I'm Adam Hurd. I work in financial operations. I'm the new contract analyst, and I just graduated from law school at Gonzaga University.
Okay. Welcome.
John Scott.
Thank you.
Good, John Scott.
Well, thank you for being here and joining our team. Look forward to your contribution. Thank you. Next, we'll have one of our educational specialists, Kathy Jensen, handle the acknowledgement of talk about our artwork that's temporarily kind of hanging here as we've been missing that, by the way. That and a clock. That and also a clock.
Well, clock might be, yeah. Well, thank you. And you see that we don't have student artwork up today, but I thought it might be interesting to you to see the work that is happening from a Title IV-A grant to Nebo School District that was based on well-rounded education with the intent of increasing the capacity of classroom teachers to deliver arts and arts-integrated instruction. This is standards-based with integrated themes, and it was delivered by 2 of the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Learning Program coaches in the Nebo School District. I had the opportunity to visit and watch as teachers were learning to do the technique of watercolor was what was happening when I was right there. But I was so impressed with the standards-based instruction that teachers were being given, and particularly the enthusiasm that they were showing for learning something that might enhance engagement and deepen learning in the classroom. So this is not student work, but produced by the Nebo School District instructional coaches. They also ran through Title IV-A grant. They also ran programs in the other 3 art forms. So dance, music, and drama took place as well. And we're looking for a sustainable way to not have a negative impact on the beautifully new painted walls. When we hang the student artwork next month, we hope to have a solution to that and have student work back. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have another one of our educational specialists, Ricky Scott. I'm going to introduce our education highlight, or highlights. Invite Ricky. There we go.
Good morning. It's great to be with you. I'm really, really excited to introduce to you 2 groups of amazing students. Here with me today, I have Alicia Coleman and Samantha Davis from Bingham High School in the Jordan School District, as well as Liley Nebeker from Fremont High School and Mason Palmer from Weaver High School, both from the Weaver School District. These students recently have worked their way up school and district and regional science fairs to compete at the international level. So they're going to share a little bit about their projects, about themselves. We're going to have Alicia and Samantha go first, and then Liley and Mason, and then we'll turn it over to the board for questions.
So hang on one sec. Do we have some chairs or something that they can use? Then we need to turn on that one mic. Brian, can you push the button on that one mic and I'll turn it on?
Mark,
Yes.
we
You need to push your.
need to make sure that
You're still not. There we go.
I'm on. We just wanted to make sure that everybody knows ISEF is the granddaddy of all granddaddies of the science fairs.
Okay, and then if you guys would restate your name and then what school you're with, so we can keep track of that. Ricky did a good job, but I didn't write fast enough. So the time is yours. So.
Okay, so my name's Sammy, and Alicia, this is my partner Alicia, and we both go to Bingham High School. So in the fall we're going to be seniors, but last spring we decided to do the science fair, and what our project is it's a more realistic solution to refugee housing. So we focused on refugee housing in the Middle East in refugee camps, and we looked at current solutions, and basically what people are living in right now is like a tarp on a couple poles, and what happens is there's a lot of dust and windstorms, and so when these windstorms come in the Middle East, they knock over these tents, and they don't even just knock them over, they destroy them, so they have to be replaced. So we wanted to engineer something that could be more affordable and also more wind resistant, because there's houses engineered that are more wind resistant, but they're thousands of dollars. So we used 2 mathematical principles, the laws of phi, which basically state that in order to create the correct curvature to create a dome, you have to add hexagons and pentagons. So you can't just have one shape, you have to have multiple. And why we chose hexagons is because there's a conjecture called the honeycomb conjecture, and it states when you arrange hexagons in an alternating pattern, you maximize volume while minimizing surface area. So what that means is we could use the least amount of material but create the most amount of space inside the dome. So we use these 2 principles and we engineered this design. This is our first like prototype. It's cardboard and glue. And so we engineered this and we discovered a shape called the flower shape. And what that does, if you put pressure on the top, it like diverges the pressure down to the bottom so that it won't collapse on itself. And yeah, so that's our design, and it's more affordable than any other solution available. And we want to continue this project into our senior year, and we want to go back to ISEF next year and just keep on testing and keep on improving our work.
So essentially we created a dome-like structure that can fold down to the size of one hexagon. It's about the size of 4 backpacks weighing 48 pounds, including the floor. It can diverge winds of over 100 miles per hour and is $136, which is $400 to $500 cheaper than anything that exists on the market like it. And so basically we went to ISEF this year. We participated in Pittsburgh. It was a lot of fun. There were over 80 different countries, and it was incredible because even though we didn't speak the same languages, we still got to be unified over the fact that we are all scientists. And there's a lot of stigma saying, oh, I don't have a PhD, I don't even have a bachelor's. Why can I change the world? And what ISEF really proved to me is that even though I don't have that, a different perspective changes everything. And that even though I'm in high school, I can still apply these things that I've learned and change the world in some way, in some aspect. And we want to continue our development. We're going to work with Brigham Young University in their engineering labs. And we're going to design a full prototype and do extreme weather testing and do any re-engineering needed from there. But we are very excited to work with our teachers and our mentors in our school and also with Brigham Young University for the opportunity to present with you tonight. So thank you.
Any questions from board members before we go to the other group? Maybe, Vice Chair Brittany Cummins.
Thank you for coming today and sharing your amazing project. I'm just curious, that's pretty amazing, the weight that you were able to get your structure down to. What materials are you planning on using in your?
We use a special type of corrugated plastic engineered by BYU, and it's UV resistant. It can last for about 17 years, and it's very lightweight, so it weighs only 48 pounds.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? We'll probably have something at the end also. Board Member Lisa Cummins.
I just want to thank these students that from my district, and so I'm so proud of them. Good job. I expect to see this on the market soon, not just for refugees, but maybe in the outdoor arena. I know that carrying those kind of log hexagon type shelters, if you will, are very heavy, so I think you'll impact more than just refugees, but I think this is a fantastic start, so good job. Thank you.
Okay, unless any other questions or comments, we'll turn the time over to you two. If you didn't introduce yourself, then.
Okay, I'm Lily Nebeker.
And I'm Mason Palmer.
And what we did for our project is we wanted to do something to help firefighters. And we ended up wanting to do that because there were some fires up in the mountain where we live. And we found the problem of fuel geysers, which is the gasoline will spray out of the chainsaws that the firefighters will use, and it will cause them to catch on fire. So we're just going to show you an example of a fuel geyser happening. This is one that we found online. So this is just like a random guy using a chainsaw. And so he kind of got off lucky because he obviously wasn't near a fire. This is an example of what has happened to one firefighter. He ended up using his chainsaw in order to create a fire line to prevent the fires from coming through, and his chainsaw stopped working, so he opened it up to check the gas, and it sprayed gasoline on him, and he caught on fire. And there are multiple scenarios like this, and so that's why we decided to approach this problem.
So the solution that we made, we wanted it to be versatile and easy to implement into existing systems, and so we decided to redesign the cap to safely vent the pressure from inside the tank out before the user opens the tank and takes the cap off. So what happens is it turns a half-inch of a turn and raises this top part up, and then you just continue turning, and it takes the whole thing off. But when you raise that up, at the bottom, this hole opens up, and it creates a passageway through the cap, and then through a filter inside of it it's meant to separate the liquid from the vapor fuel and safely vent the pressure out before the cap's ever removed. So.
And any questions?
Questions from board members?
Oh, also just a note, if you guys wanted to see, we do have like videos from our testing. They're only 10 seconds long if you're interested.
Okay. Vice Chair Brittany Cummins.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for coming today. I would have loved to have gone to your science fair and seen all of the projects that were there. It's fantastic. I'm just curious, where did you come across this as a problem to be solved? You know, where did you find out that these fuel geysers were a problem?
So what we ended up doing is, like we said earlier, there were some wildfires up on our hill where we were looking for a problem for an engineering class we were in. And so we were like, let's help firefighters. And so we started looking into their processes and started calling a lot of people up. And we ended up getting into contact with John Cataldo, who's the wildlife and aviation manager at Yellowstone, I think. And we asked him a question that we didn't really plan on asking, but we asked him, what are some problems that, you know, some engineering students could solve? And he's like, oh, I got some. And so one of them was like, when they fly into the fires to drop the hot shots, is it hot shots? Yeah. They fly really low, and so they have the windows open, sort of, and so the smoke can actually cause carbon monoxide poisoning in the pilot's lungs and make them basically like they're flying drunk. And when you're flying low and fast and drunk, it's not a good combination. And then he also said fuel geysering. And some others, and we ended up going with fuel geysering. So.
Any other questions? Or I've got one. So what's next with this cap? Is it patent, university work? I'm curious.
So we've spoke with the Forest Service a little bit, and they're also actually working on a solution right now. There's actually a head in Washington, D.C. that we've spoken to about it, and they're coordinating different methods to go about solving the problem. So like one is just advertisement, and then another one is trying to find an engineering solution. And so I think just communicating with them, and then also we would like to improve our filter because that could use a little bit of work. And then just figuring out how to manufacture it, I suppose, and getting a patent.
Okay. Superintendent Dixon.
Thank you. I am really proud of you all, and it's very exciting to see that you're solving real-world problems. So I have a more general question for you, and that is, you're experiencing things that we would like every student to experience in school. So what advice do you have for us and for this board to help prepare teachers to teach in a way that more students can experience the kinds of working on real-world problems? And so that's one question. And if some of you want to answer it, what was it in school that got you interested in STEM and being interested in science, engineering, mathematics, etc.?
Okay, so for us, I think at first our teacher mentor, his name's Mr. Fish, and he was our AP Physics teacher. And when we first decided we wanted to do the science fair, it was kind of just for like an extracurricular thing. You could like put it on a resume or whatever. But then as we got more into it, we realized it was something that we were really interested in. And the way he helped us the most was by not helping us, even though that doesn't make sense. We would go to him and ask us questions, and he'd be like, I don't know, you just have to Google it. So we'd get on our phones and we'd Google it, and we'd have to figure it out ourselves. And in the end, that helped us the most, because then when judging came around and they came and asked us questions, we knew it for ourselves because we had learned it for ourselves. So I think that's what helped us the most.
Good job.
I also think I did science fair in 9th grade. We had a program at South Jordan Middle School for science. It was like science fair club, and that helped a lot. So that got us the motivation to do it again when our junior year. And I think I was involved in MESA for a couple of years, and that helped a lot. These extracurricular things and passionate teachers, that's what really inspires us to do.
Great.
One thing you can do is I didn't know about the science fair until my senior year, and so I wish that I knew about it earlier because I loved it and it was super fun, but I just didn't know about it. So
Yeah, I agree with Mason on that. I kind of found out about it late, or else I think I would have gotten into it sooner. Also, what got me into it is, like we mentioned earlier, is we took an engineering class, and kind of how you guys were saying, in the class we were given that freedom where the teacher was like, I don't know the answers, you know, and so we had to go Google it, and I think that we ended up learning more that way because it was almost like a follow your own pathway process, and I think that that freedom made it to where we could actually learn more. And then my teacher actually just like raved about the science fair because it was the first year that it got started at Fremont, which is the school that I go to, and he was just like, it's so cool, and I was like, I really wish I could do it, but I'm actually busy with my engineering class, and then I ended up being able to use it for that.
Board Member Reeving?
For one summer, I worked as a wildland firefighter. There were no fires, thankfully. But the government is really slow to adopt things. Are you going to make this available to people? Because I use a chainsaw at home every once in a while, and I just think this is incredible that you guys solved that problem. I mean, it's really scary, and that job is dangerous enough without having to deal with faulty equipment or problems. So is there a plan for you to make this available, like they're trying to make theirs available?
We would like to. We're still figuring out our exact process on that. But that's kind of, I think, for me personally, like why I wanted to continue after the class is I was like, we have a really cool solution that could really potentially impact people's lives, I think. And that's kind of what gives me the encouragement to work on it because, like, I think that would be so cool to be able to make a difference in people's lives because, you know, like, I worked on something that, you know, like, was able to affect their life.
I think that's been kind of trailed the entire process, too, because that's what we started with, too. We didn't want to just find, you know, something to do a project on. We wanted to find something that would actually help people, so.
And Vice Chair Ellis? Vice Chair Ellis?
Thank you for coming today. It's really impressive, and I agree. A passionate teacher can make a world of difference in you. I hope you'll pick up some marketing classes to figure out how to take your ideas and expand them out because that would be useful. But I just wanted to ask, I would love to see if they're really short videos, a couple of those. So I'm requesting of the chair, if we have a minute to watch a couple of their demo videos, that would be great.
I think we can squeeze it in if we get, are we prepared?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're ready. They're right here. We just have to
Okay,
put it on.
well, this is coming up while you're bringing it up. I want to thank you for being here too, and I want to extend a challenge. Well, I want to thank you for mentoring mentors and that, but I just want to remind you, you are mentors for your underclassmen and that, and fellow students, and you also have the opportunity to work with your local boards, and if there's any programs at risk at the local level, and or you see betterments that can happen there, be sure and communicate them to your local board members. I think they'd be that your recommendations would be well received. So I want to extend that invitation and challenge to just not end here. We'll take good notes, and we're glad that you're here. Are we ready for the presentation?
So it was connected, but it kicked us off. So we're quickly like logging back on,
Okay.
And it's all set up and ready. But we just gotta log back on to your guys' connection thing. I like to come up with thingamabob names. He's gotten really good at understanding. There you go.
You know, technology is really important, and it's kind of amazing with everything that goes on in the world. But in this particular room, weird things kind of happen. I think we're plagued with communication challenges.
Okay, so this is our control. So we're trying to create a geyser here, and we're actually using this cap right here.
That one was
Awesome. And then the next one is our prototype cap, which is this cap right here. And you can see under the same conditions how it. And then we finished pulling it off, but you can kind of see like the little bubbles because of the water that was in it, how all the pressure was released. But we didn't finish pulling it off in the video because it was a little bit longer and we were talking about how it worked and all of that. So.
Yeah, and if you look at the pressure sensor we had attached to this computer, all the pressure inside the tank was out in under 2 seconds. So.
That's amazing. You guys are so cool.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any other board questions or comments. Thank you so much for being here and representing the great state of Utah, and look forward to seeing more of you somewhere there in the engineering and solving the world's problems. So thank you. And thank you, Ricky.
We know somebody who owns an engineering company.
Well, appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Board Member Belknap, for giving up your seat and running those mics. We're going to go into public comment next, and Board Member Belknap still going to take the helm down on that end there. We don't have a podium, but we invite you to come to the seat. We have